Hello, everybody. It's Jeff Kennedy with the Cartel and Corey Maurer with the War Pigs for week 6 of your MFFL recap and the Fantasy Bros. What's going on, Corey?
Nothing. How you doing?
That was a crazy fucking week.
Yeah, that was a very interesting, down to the wire. Multiple games, multiple NFL games went down to the wire.
Yeah.
So pretty exciting, especially if you won.
I felt like the shit talking was a little bit less this week than in past weeks, which maybe was nice to have a little break. But yeah, there were some close games, and I don't know. Let's go through it and talk about each one. You want to talk about the overall standings first? You're usually good at that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start in order on here. Superstar division, my division. Blues up to 5-1. I go to 4-2. The bots drop it, go to 2-3-1. And the Kings in free fall at 1-5. And I don't know. We'll talk about the games individually. I think I got pretty lucky to win this week, but that keeps me in the race with Nandu. He's obviously, just from the points alone, he's the best team in the league right now. Look at this average points, 118. That's, oh my God. That's an average. That's wow. Everybody else's high for the year is 118, and he's averaging that. So yeah, he's pretty unstoppable. All-American division, you are on top 4-1-1, even with the loss, but Sticky is right there at half a game back at 4-2 now. I can't believe that team is 4-2. Just look at the difference, right? Nandu 708 points, Sticky Bandits 514 points, almost 200 points difference, and he's one game back.
Yeah, and my game's missing 100 points for the fourth.
Right, yeah. Yeah. There's a couple of teams like that where you gotta that and you win the bots, but Commandos does get the win. It's 2-4. Broad Street 2-4. So again, 17-week season. Those guys aren't out.
I agree. It's still wide open.
Yeah, Power Packs, Untouchables, 4 wins in a row now. 5-1. Man, Biohazard's free fall. Starts the season 2-0 and hasn't won since. 4 losses in a row. Lead Dogs loses. He's 2-4. Bad Company 2-4. Numbers wise, that division is not that bad, but record wise, it's the worst one in the league.
Yeah.
So
as we get near, we're getting ready to start week 7. I believe there's 14 weeks in our season, so we're at the halfway mark. So I looked ahead to see if the season were to end right now, where would we be? We'd be at the Blues, and the Untouchables would have the bye. Cartel would play Bad Company, and War Pigs would play Sticky Bandits. If we were to be right now. So granted, there's a lot of football left, and anything could happen, but that's just kind of cool to think about, where we're at. And then Kabasi Kings is out of the list that I have here. They are the worst team, and they're going to continue to be the worst team through this year. Not because he's a bad manager. It's been a rough year for injuries and just a rough schedule, and just it's not their year. So we'll see. Cool. Let's go into the games then. We go over to scoring. I think that's we'll do it over here, right?
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. So do you remember last week when we did our forecast, which one of these we thought would win? I thought I picked Broad Street Bullies, actually.
Really? I don't know. I don't think I would have picked the Bullies, honestly.
I knew Biohazard they were hurting so bad with injuries. I just didn't think they were going to be able to do it, but it was closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, you look at the numbers here. Again, the recap is Hazard's 89, basically Broad Street Bullies 95. I think the big one here on the bully side is Khalil Herbert. I don't know how to say it. Herbert, probably. I think he's a rookie running back who just gets picked up last week by the Bullies and goes off, gets over 100 yards total, 17 points fantasy. That's huge.
Yep.
That's huge. And then on the other side, Hubbard didn't do bad for Carolina for the Hazards. Jacobs did pretty good. Hopkins did what he does, and the killer here is Michael Pittman. I don't know, I don't know if he's counting on relying on him, but I don't think you can trust anybody on Indy right now. They got 31 points, and this dude ends up with 2 receptions.
Well, Pittman's supposed to be the guy. Like, he is wide receiver.
Well,
and
Hilton came back, right? That's the problem.
Back, and they run, right? They're running. Jonathan Taylor's blowing up right now, so it definitely is a weird team to follow. And then don't forget that Noah Fant showed up with 15 points, like 89 to 95. They're respectable scores. Like those could win any given week and should probably win most weeks. It's not like you're in 60th or 70th. So there's nothing to hold your head on. If you look at Biohazard's bench, they didn't really leave any points on the bench. That was the best possible lineup that he could have played. So congratulations. And you look over at what Broad Street Bullies has done. They got 10 and 13 in their wide receiver position. But are you going to play? Chase Claypool's played well. Myers is a wide receiver 1. Are you going to play, Darnell Mooney with Field thrown to him, or KJ Osborne, wide receiver 3, over either of them? No. So I don't know that either of them could have played anything differently than they did.
Yeah, I mean, and in Biohazard side too, he's got not only injuries, but I mean, he did this, and knowing what he did, he picked up guys that aren't off IR yet. And so he kind of was like, well, I'm saving this for later. The problem is he's dropped every game since the beginning of the season. And now he's in trouble at, what is he, 2-4. But those guys still aren't off IR. So he's counting on the future, but his present is he's in real trouble right now. Yeah. And I will say this, Jay, if you watch the Philly game, that was a Thursday night game, right? Philly and Tampa. I don't know how to say his name, Jalen Reagor or whatever. That dude could have had 2 touchdowns and 100 yards easy. He had 2 big bombs to him, both called pass interference. He didn't catch either one of them. So that's like, I don't know, they were like 40, 50-yard bombs, and they were called pass interference. So he ends up with nothing instead of 15 points or something. So you can't even look at that 0 as, oh, I got screwed. That guy didn't do anything, but that's just the game.
Well, knowing how strategic Tim is, I would imagine that his season's probably sunk, if not very close to it. Depends on the next game or two. But he's going to have Jerry Jeudy and Christian McCaffrey and probably, EDN, however you say his last name, next season. They're going to be dirt cheap. They didn't play hardly at all this year. So it might be just one of those things where you just suck it up this year to, be super competitive next year as far as the salary goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, McCaffrey just got put on the real IR, so he's gone for the next 3 games now. And again, one guy's not going to make the difference. In this game, it would have, but one guy on the team he has isn't going to make a difference. He's got a big problem in the wide receiver area right now, with all those guys on IR and injured, and I don't know.
Let's move over to the Honolulu Blues and Bad Company. This game seemed to be somewhat close before the Monday Night Football game, because I think he was actually losing before Henry and Diggs played, and Henry just balled the fuck out. Like, he just nobody could stop him that night.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you get with Derrick Henry, right? We're not getting those, oh, you got nothing this week. It's going to be 15 to 30 points pretty much guaranteed. And anytime Tennessee got close to anywhere near the goal line, well, that's another 7, for Henry coming in. And that's not 95 is not a bad total for Bad Company, but there's no way. Again, we just said the Blues are averaging almost 120 points a game. So you got to come out with huge numbers across the board, and Tannehill is not going to provide. That's a bad matchup. He's got Tannehill at quarterback playing against Henry. Henry's going to get double the points Tannehill has every week.
Well, even more than that, you got Tannehill playing against Buffalo defense.
Right.
So that's also going to be tough. And you look at what Blues did. Mike Williams and the Chargers had a normally horrible game. Like, they're a good offensive football team. They didn't do anything. So if Mike Williams had even gotten 10 or 20, it would have been even worse than this. And that's with probably 0 points at tight end. Dan Arnold's going to get looks. He just has no quarterback. I don't know that he's going to be tight end 5, but you got Kittle on IR, and then you picked up Ricky Jones-Seal. That's another 10 points. Like he can probably push 140, 150 any given game, which actually between you and me and everybody else watching this, he's been doing that every season. He just at the end of the year, it's just all about luck and who gets sat, who's injured, and who has COVID, and you just never know. Anything can happen.
Yep.
Bad Company's 2-5 now. They didn't really have anybody on the bench that you would have thought. I mean, not going to play Christian Kirk.
2-4 still
over Antonio Brown. Jalen Waddle blew up, but again, you got Tua coming back for his first game. You weren't quite sure how he was going to be doing. They're playing. When did they play? They played Thursday in England, right? I think
Thursday was Philly and Tampa. Yeah,
I'm thinking that was a Sunday morning in England.
Yeah.
So who that is? So I always kind of worry about those games. I know I probably shouldn't. I overthink stuff, but I'm like, you travel, the time zone's different. It's a different place, and I just kind of like to stay away from them. But 19 points is fucking amazing. That's probably the best game he's had all season.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That was a good game. Let's go to Lead Dogs and War Pigs. Your game, super close.
Oh, this was nuts. This was, I believe that's my lowest game of the season, which isn't bad considering. But this is if you don't get to 90, you're going to be lucky to win, right? I wouldn't have beaten most of the teams this week. I got lucky to play who I did. I thought I had a matchup, and I picked. This is one of the games that we split on. I picked myself, and you picked the Lead Dogs. But Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, I figured I had an advantage there, and look, I did, because Lamar Jackson only goes for 15 and Andrews gets 12.
Yeah,
so I matched his all-star quarterback with my tight end, and that's massive. We were talking about next week. I was talking about with Mike about our bye weeks coming up, and we'll talk about that later. But dude, the MVP of my team continues to be my kicker.
I know. I looked at that too. Like, he won the game for you.
He won the game for me. Again, that was all in the first half. He won the game for me in the first half. 3 field goals, 2 extra points, 52-yard field goal that wasn't even close to missing. And that's huge, because look at the rest of my team. Gaskin decides not to show up as soon as I give him a chance to, come back in. Moss 3.9. I had nobody over 5. That's awful. My 3 running backs combined didn't get to 10. That's insane. But Phelan showed up again, gets 18. Andrews, it's all the second half of this page. And then Burrow, who was, as Mike said, I picked the quarterback that was playing the Lions. That's pretty much what it was. I picked the quarterback playing the Lions. Look at that. He goes off. I think that's his best game this year. So,
but on paper, I'll take Rodney's team over your team. They got way better running backs, just as good wide receivers in theory, and the number 1 tight end. A great
maybe before the injury for sure, because now that Hunt's out,
well, yeah,
he's in trouble.
But right? You look at this, and Lamar Jackson scoring 34 points for Baltimore and only getting 15 points.
Yep.
That never happens. But they just couldn't stop the run. They ran 3 different running backs for touchdowns. They didn't need to throw. He didn't need to. They were up the whole game. So when you're up 28-6, why are you going to have Lamar Jackson try to extend plays? Yep. So good win for you. Nice. And you look down here on who was on the bench. Rodney sat Cole Beasley for Devontae and Metcalf, which makes sense. But had he played Beasley, he would have had a win. Had he played T.Y. Hilton, his new pickup, he would have had a win. It would have been just enough. So all in all,
the only one I had was I sat McLaurin, and I guess I made the right choice there, because I think we're starting to see that quarterback I can't think of the name of in Washington right now. Yeah. He's not going to cut it. There's no way they should have only had 13 points against KC. KC doesn't have a good defense.
I agree.
This year, that should have been a high-scoring game. The matchup was great.
Yep.
And I don't trust him anymore, and that's my best receiver. So that's not good. But as we'll find out this coming week with all the buys, I'm going to have to start AJ Green. Dude, this is resurrection time. This dude scored like 5 touchdowns this year. He's not gonna burn anybody. He's not running past anyone, but
I just don't like
5 for
I don't
79
like
and
the
he
Miles to
didn't
see.
touch.
You got Rondale Moore, you've got Christian Kirk, you got AJ Green, you got DeAndre Hopkins, you got running backs that can catch, you got a running quarterback. Like there's just so many. It's the same issue that Kansas City has to a degree. Is there's so many weapons who
Yeah.
goes off in any given week. Give me somebody that's like a pure wide receiver. Even give me Jacoby Myers, who I know is going to get all the catches. Then a wide receiver 3, who I hope and pray is going to do well. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, we did that. We did that. Biohazards. We did that one first. Yeah, let's do mine. So this one.
This is the game of the week, probably game of the season as far as the highest scoring, closest total. I mean, that is nuts. That is absolutely nuts. And it came down to Monday Night Football, the last minute of the game almost too.
Came down to Josh Allen throwing a fucking pass like for 20 yards that didn't even score. He got stuffed on the run. He got stuffed on the touchdown. Like it was so close. And I stopped watching. It was halftime of the afternoon games. My guys had like 11 points. I needed whatever. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go do other stuff. And I kept getting messages from Rooney saying, oh my God's getting close, whatever. I got on. I was like, I didn't know they went to overtime. I didn't know there was like a 78-yard bomb at the end. And I was like, oh, there's no way I lose this. And then as I'm watching the second half of the game on Monday, I'm like, eh. It was like Allen started going off, and I'm like, if he gets a rushing touchdown, it's over. And he didn't, but it came down to literally the last minute. And, I hate losing to Jeff, but congratulations, Jeff. And also I appreciate you being semi-cool about the little mistake that we had with the pricing and with McKinnon and all of that. So, you won anyways, fair and square, but anyways, I appreciate you being cool about that.
The one thing, I mean, this is absolute heartbreak, and I realize that that's you, so it sucks for you. But I mean, Josh Allen here, you lose based on Josh Allen catching a 2-point conversion from a tight end that's broken his hand that Allen is trying to wave off. I don't know if you saw this stuff. He's trying to wave off the coaches like, no, we can't run this play. His hand is messed up. Not Dawson Knox. He's like, he can't throw it. And you saw
like this.
Yeah, the way he threw it, they're like, guess what position he played? Quarterback. I'm like, why? He looks terrible.
Yeah.
But it turns out his hand is broken. He throws it anyway. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is brutal. I mean, look at you guys. You got Prescott. You beat him at quarterback by 0.08 points wise. You both have running backs go over 20. And then your other running backs both sucked. You guys are just even across the board. This is just nuts.
I picked up the dude from Cincinnati, and he got like 2 touchdowns and like 12 points, and or whatever it was, 15 points. And I dropped him in my mind. I was like, oh, I better go Jerick McKinnon, who created the whole salary cap thing. So then I just fucking dropped everybody and got Travion Williams, who was supposed to be promoted from taxi squad, and he gets 1.3. Had he gotten 2.3, like another anything, it just didn't happen. And this was my bye week, right? So I expected to lose. If there's ever going to be a week, it's going to be when I have all those guys out all at once. And now you fuckers get to deal with your bye weeks in the coming weeks, and I'll be able to have my fairly full strength squad. So good job, Untouchables, I guess. Whatever. Let's see. We did that everybody or Kings?
No, we got 2 more.
Okay. Wasn't close.
Yeah, this is, unfortunately for Mike, I don't remember what his average was, but this is what his season is right here. He's not really going to get, he's averaging probably not even 80 points. I can't imagine it's going to get better than that. I hope it doesn't this week when he plays me, but this was unfortunately a gimme for Commandos. 93 is okay. He wouldn't have beaten a lot of teams this week, just like I wouldn't have, but he didn't need it. Ends up winning by more than 20 or around 20 because the Kings just don't have the players.
I want nothing to do with Buffalo's running backs. Like they just can't figure it out. Moss, Singletary, I don't know how you put up that many points and none of them get any scores. Maybe it's just the Allen magic, but I just feel bad for Kobasi Kings. Javonte Williams is obviously going to be a beast when he finally gets given the reins, but they won't do it yet. Darrell Williams surprised everybody by how well he did stepping in. Herbert did worse than we expected. Dawson Knox apparently has a broken hand now, so
yeah, I mean that he was out after that 2-point conversion, so he probably missed some points there. but it wouldn't have
If
mattered.
Zach Ertz, so at least Zach Ertz has got a new team, and that might help. That might pop him a little bit. Another mouth to feed in Arizona. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a mess. Good job, Bionic. We knew he was going to win. He had the best, worst team, so it's just a matter of time before they started doing their thing.
And again, look at Jalen Hurts. You know, I say this every week. Those numbers are terrible, and he ends up with 27 fantasy points. Who cares?
He rushed touchdowns.
But I just read today, like they're talking. There's some kind of discussion about possibly benching him in Philly. So, because those are good fantasy point numbers, but he's not a good quarterback. I don't know what.
Yeah, he's like a
the
younger.
dude couldn't even start on his own team in college. He had to transfer to get away from Tua. So
I mean, he's not. I mean, he probably isn't as good as Cam Newton, but in Cam Newton's later years, that was the kind of stats he would put up: 130 yards,
Right.
2 rushing touchdowns. You just can't rely on rushing touchdowns.
No.
You need someone that can do both, like a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson. All right, who's next?
The last one is right there. Yeah, the bots and sticky. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is. I'm surprised, honestly. This is a pretty low total for the bots here. His team is normally better than that, but you look at all the receivers, nobody cracked 8 points, which is unbelievable.
DJ Moore missed a bunch of catches, and Tyler Lockett doesn't have Wilson throwing to him.
Yeah.
So, and
yeah, I mean, pretty much Seattle is going to go down across the board. Everybody was like, "Oh, look, Geno Smith had one good drive at the end when Wilson got hurt," but ever since then, he looks like Geno Smith. So
I have an honest question. The kicker for Denver there on Sticky Bandits is that how do you pronounce his last name?
McManus.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Anus. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how to say that. So thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
We didn't do a sponsor this week. I'll have to get a new one next week. Chris Carson's out. Jones. Yeah, I mean, there's nobody on his bench that he probably would have played over anybody else. You're not going to play Ruggs over any of his receivers.
No.
Over here for the bots, they're super, super thin based on buys. So I think he played the team he could play, and the score is what it is. So
yeah, I mean, again, 93 is pretty good, but as we're seeing, it depends on who you play. 93 is probably not going to win you a lot of games anymore, unless you're playing the right team. And like Sticky did, I did, and what was the other one? Commandos played the right teams this week. But this again, 93 is not bad, but when you got all these hundreds going across the board, this week wasn't nearly as plentiful with those 100-point games. But
I think if you score in the 90s, you have a chance. If you score
you got a chance.
You're probably going to lose. If you score over 105, 10, you should win, but it depends on who you play.
Unless you're playing
Undo.
Yeah, unless you're playing the Blues, yeah.
We got a new element I'm going to try to add this week, which is going through and just looking at the last couple of acquisitions and just doing a quick thumbs up, thumbs down on whether you think it was a non-do move, Untouchables move, or kind of like just right in the middle. So Untouchables got Randy Bullock. We don't really give a shit about kickers. Good for you. Yeah. Lead dogs both inactivated and activated Kareem Hunt. He got fat fingers and he hit the wrong button. We won't even talk about that. I was going to pick up Nick Folk. Actually, he's on my watch list. 50 cents. Yeah. Good kicker, good numbers. And
that's just a bye week. That's just a bye week ad for me because I'm losing my best player, my kicker.
I get it.
So I got to pick something.
Oh shit! I need to pick up Bass. Go ahead and drop him real quick.
Yeah, no.
And then we got Josh Gordon getting dropped. I don't think that's a surprise. I don't know if he's caught a ball since he's been back. He just eats salary. Mark Ingram got dropped. Chris Evans, that's the guy that I picked up and dropped last week. Rodney picked him up and dropped Freeman. But Chris Evans will become third behind Mixon and Samaj Perrine. So maybe somebody gets hurt and he gets to play again.
I think that's just a bye week pickup or something. I think Devontae and Chris Evans are pretty much the same right now. They might get a couple balls and maybe you get lucky and he scores or something. But
I did like Jarrett Patterson. Now that Gibson's kind of gimpy, they are saying Jarrett Patterson might get a chance. So when you get a rookie, it doesn't cost you that much, and you got space. Why not pick him up and throw him on the bench and see what happens? You never know who's going to catch fire. And I
So
was
what,
really pissed this morning because I had Rashad Penny as my number one waiver pickup because he was 0.2. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I had him earlier and I needed to drop him. And
I was surprised that I got him. I put him in there and I was just like, because that's one of those guys, like if you're not looking,
yeah,
you just see he's on IR.
yeah,
And then I'm reading all the stuff. I'm like, he's going to be back this week. He looks 100%. I'm like, oh crap,
yeah.
he's
And
going to play.
Collins hasn't looked,
You know?
Collins hasn't looked. I mean, he had a good game last week, but other than that, he hasn't been like consistently taking over. Like there's room for two running backs on that team,
Yeah.
especially with the quarterback.
And again, that's a bye week pickup for me, but I think if he shows anything going forward, that's going to be huge because number one, the cost, it's almost nothing.
Right. Why
And
not?
I triple checked to see how much he cost too. I was like, wait, did he play last year? It is just like zeros. I'm like, all right, we're going.
Why not?
But,
It's the same thing I did with Tyrod Taylor or Tyrod or whatever, T Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'll ever play him, but at 0.4 to have a potential starting quarterback, I can get rid of Heineke and he just sits there in case Dak gets hurt. It's a pretty inexpensive insurance.
So he was hurt, right? Taylor was hurt and then
ribs.
And now he's back basically.
Should be back this week or next.
And then this one's interesting, a little farther down, Trey Sermon just getting picked up off waivers by Bad Company. That's a rookie, right? He's a rookie that
I drafted him
nothing and people
I drafted him.
He got picked high.
I drafted him
high in the draft, right?
I drafted him in the first or second round this year.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good running back. Like I think he has skill, but he was like literally fourth in order, and all three people got hurt, and they're like, boom, here you go. And he just didn't do it. So they're like, yeah, as soon as Elijah Mitchell's better, we're going to go this direction. So I'm like, if I had to pick him or Carter to hold, I would rather hold Carter. So I did. And I hope that Bad Company gets some points out of him. Good for him.
Yeah. I mean, that could be somebody just saving if he blows up and they're like, all right, we're going to give you, we're going to give you the starts the rest of the season at some point near the end of the season. And then he blows up and then next year he's a starter. So who knows?
Could be. Let's look ahead to week 7 to the matchups. Again, these plus minuses don't mean anything because people haven't, gone in and changed their lineups and whatnot. So, and we have a lot of buys coming up this week. Not me because I had it last week, but a lot of other people are going to be on buys. So give me, we'll do the 2-minute drill. Give me which team you think is going to win and like a quick 1-sentence reason of why.
All right. Well, surprisingly, this is my huge bye week. I think I'm missing 5 or 6 guys, and but I like the backups I have, honestly. And yeah, that didn't do what you wanted, did it? But the Kings also have a bunch of buys, and he's already low scoring. And if you look at the matchups, I don't see how I don't win anyway. And of course, I just jinxed myself, but I think I should win this one regardless.
My upset of the week is Kilbasi Kings. Upset of the week. Yeah. So I think this is a week where you've been fortunate. And I think somehow something happens and you just aren't fortunate this week. And you kind of expect it, but that way you can lose to your brother-in-law, which will be awesome because I lost to Tim's brother.
And he will be here this weekend in person to show it in my face if I lose. So there you go.
Even better. All right. Bionic Commandos, Broad Street Bullies.
Yeah. And I'm totally looking at the lineups here. We get the season record JD McKissick. It looks like Commandos is starting. So he's, the cause of so many problems in our league this year, but he'll be starting. The Bullies.
That's McKinnon starting problems, not McKissick.
I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go Commandos. I think he's just got better players.
I for sure agree. Bionic Commandos has a more whole team. Broad Street Bullies somehow hasn't lost every game. Yeah. So there's always a chance that somebody will get bullied. But if I was to put money on it, I would agree. I think Bionic wins this week. Sticky Bandits Cartel.
Yeah, this one again, I think Sticky has on paper a lot of good players here. And I just don't know if they're not meshing at the right time or what's going on. I mean, I think, a big one that I see is like Mike Evans, but with Brady there, he spreads the ball so out, and it really seems like Antonio Brown's like his favorite receiver now. I don't know if Mike Evans has scored more than twice this year, and he's certainly not doing anything yardage wise. So I guess I'm going to go Cartel. Obviously, you got your backup quarterback in this week, but it looks like you got everybody else for the most part that you would want to start.
And the backup quarterback's playing the Giants. So.
Yeah. So I guess I gotta go Cartel for that one.
Yeah, this is probably, I don't want to say it's the game of the week without saying it's the game of the week, but it's going to be close. And also,
I was just going to say, this is going to be close. This is going to be
also playing for first position. If I lose, he'll take over first in the division.
Yeah.
I'm chasing a wild card spot. So a very important game. And yeah, I would agree. I should beat him. So I put my money on that. Untouchables, bad company.
Yeah, just from looking at it here, it looks like he's Untouchables. He's got some bye week issues. He's got Dalvin Cook. Josh Allen is the big one that he's got to sit. So his backup is the aforementioned Geno Smith. That just seems like a disaster.
Let me cut to the chase. Jeff Green's had Josh Allen's dick in his mouth for weeks now, and this is the week that it ends.
I think Bad Company kind of rolls them, honestly.
I think Bad Company beats him by 18. I think Bad Company
18.6.
I think Bad Company beats him so bad he gets gout in his other knee. Love you, Jeff. All right, Biohazard's lead dogs.
Boy. Let's see. Again, I think Biohazard's. He's got all his players this week. He's got Debo back. He's got Kyler Murray still there. Hopkins. I don't think he's missing anybody that should be starting. Obviously, McCaffrey's on IR. But let's see. Lead dog's got Lamar, but he does have Chris Evans in there right now.
Who's Lamar playing?
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going
again. That could be such a huge blowout. He just doesn't get a lot of points because of it.
I'm going lead dogs.
I'm going Biohazards. Honestly, I'm going to go Biohazards. Turn his season around at the expense of Rodney. So
I think Tim's going to lose because he's related to Jeff Bruni. So I think it's going to be contagious. It's going to be like a loser.
Contagious gout of the fantasy
virus. He's going to get caught up in that. And then finally, we got Bots versus Honolulu Blues. This is going to be interesting to watch because Bots has a pretty solid team. I don't know the Blues are going to lose to them, but if there was going to be a game, I think Blues has some bye issues also. This could be an upset.
Yeah, basically his entire wide receiving core is on bye, the Blues. So he's going to be running probably, unless there's some pickups, he's going to be running.
He doesn't even have enough wide receivers to put a full roster in right now.
No, he's going to have to put Beckham in. He's got one wide receiver on his bench.
Well, that's not about this last week is that if you have such a good team like he has, but they're expensive.
Well, the question here is, can he beat him? Can he beat him with just running backs and Mahomes? And I think the answer is yes. I think he can beat him with just running backs and Mahomes. Because while, like we said, the Bots have good names on here, Miles Sanders' season has been ruined by Jalen Hurts just running all the time, right? He barely gets the ball anymore.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift in Detroit should be better than that, but he's got Goff as a quarterback. Lockett's got a backup quarterback now. And Godwin, again, I think Antonio Brown is the number one receiver in Tampa. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking Blues could throw out a bunch of crap in his three running backs and Mahomes and probably still win. So that's what I'm going to say is going to happen. I mean, that's what happened this week, right? He got 120 points and he almost got nothing from his receivers.
Right.
So
okay. Well, we'll see what happens next week. My upset of the week is the Kielbasa Kings over War Pigs. And your upset of the week is what? You think Bots beat the Blues or lead dogs? What do you think? What's your upset of the week?
I don't think it's an upset, but I mean, who did I think that would be an upset? I don't think I really picked any upsets. I guess saying Hazards beat the lead dogs, since the Hazards have lost 4 games in a row, I guess that's an upset to say he's going to win. I don't know.
All right. Fair enough. Anything else you want to talk about as far as buys or the league in general?
No, I think we're good. I think we're on a pretty good, I think everybody's being overreactive and protective about the salaries now, which is probably a good thing. And I was thinking about this morning, honestly, you know, not to cause any controversy, I don't think it does, but I almost feel like when you have to pay more attention to this league because of the way it's run, you might say that sucks that we have to pay more attention because you don't just press a button and it's fixed and you don't have to worry about it. I feel like if you just pay more attention to this league than your other ones, and I think a lot of people in this league don't play more than one or two other leagues anyway, at least not serious ones, you know. That's how it should be. Like I don't really want it to be like press a button and forget about it.
I made that comment to Bruni. I was like, again, and I'm pretty involved with the league and I do a bunch of stuff just like you do. And I made a mistake. I just didn't do the right thing. I didn't figure it out. And I'm like, this shit doesn't happen with Yahoo. I just set my lineup on like Wednesday and I'm done and it's fine. Like, I don't have to worry about all this stuff, which if you're really busy and have life stuff happening, it's really nice, right? If you have extra time and you want to pay it and play it and spend it on the league, then great. I do agree that making people more clued in and tuned in is a good thing. And I think that most people are pretty, they get on Slack and they chat and they respond to the trade offers and that's all great. And somewhere in the happy medium. I mean, if I would spend the same amount of time on pickups and free agents, if I didn't have to deal with the salary issues, like if that was just taken care of and was magically correct, I would spend that time doing more strategic forward thinking and less, oh my God, this guy, Jared McKinnon's, actually his salary is correct. Tim went in and changed Jared McKinnon.
Yeah, it is now, finally.
Don't ever use him as a reason for being over the cap. But I agree with you. I mean, being engaged is a good thing for the league. And we got a good group of people. And in all seriousness, I know I like to make fun of Bruni, but he could have been a super big dick. He could have waited till the 4:00 game started. He could have waited till Monday. He could have done a lot of things a lot differently. And he came to me before those games started and gave me an out and said, listen, if you just get rid of them. And he said, pick up Chris Evans and it'll be fine. But I said, no, fuck that. I'll take Williams. And then I lost. But, my point is that's what this is supposed to be. It's not like a I gotcha and legality type group of guys. It's like friends. We're playing fantasy. If your team loses, they lose, but you don't want to lose on a technicality. So I appreciate that. And hopefully we can keep that flow going.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, it's Wednesday, so we probably won't do the all the cool stuff because we're gonna run out of time. So I'll go ahead and post this to you, and you can post it to YouTube.
Yep, we'll get it posted later today, and then we'll be good. And like I said, if people really want the bells and whistles, that's cool. If we get these done on Tuesday, then usually I have time to do that. But Wednesdays are pretty bad with all the other stuff I have to do in the afternoon and evening. So
okay. We'll shoot for Tuesdays. Actually, next week on Tuesday, I'm going to be in Las Vegas. So you'll be on your own if you want to do one.
You're not going to do one from the casino? You're not going to be in the casino with all the sounds in the background?
In the casino. No, I mean, I'm going to be flying. It's going to be a big mess. So just do your thing and I'll watch it on Slack like everybody else.
All right.
Cool. See you guys.
Good.
Bye.
Have a good week.
See you.